Also, the women's 800 meters, the moving story of Maria Mutola. You'll hear that story and watch her run. Is it automatic in the 200 with Otto Bolden? We'll see. And that blur out of North Carolina, Marion Jones, in the 100 later.
In her native country, Maria Mutola doesn't run. Her people are recovering from 17 years of civil war. They've had enough of running, of hiding, of gunfire, of going without. The average life expectancy is 44.
I remember actually hearing the guns far away. That was kind of scary because you never know when people are going to come to your house when you're sleeping or whatever. So for me, it was kind of tough. My success to Mozambique has been very, very good because I am the only hope, actually, when it comes to Olympic Games, when it comes to World Championships. And, you know, I became the Mozambican ambassador in sports.
In America, you got a Michael Jordan, right? So here in Mozambique, we got Maria Mutola. She's the queen.
Once she was a child of war, playing barefoot on battered earth, a standout even then.
I'm very lucky that way, that I was picked from all those kids. Like you can see, it's very hard to pick somebody and be successful.
It wasn't just luck. 14-year-old Maria, the only girl on her soccer team, scored the winning goal in a local tournament. Then her team was disqualified for letting a girl play. The news attracted the attention of Mozambique's most renowned citizen, a poet who, as fate would have it, had a track coach for a son. Maria's practices were more than an hour's walk away. Workouts made her hungry, but there was little to eat.
People used to make fun of me because some people thought I'm crazy. Some people thought, they call me names and all those kind of things over there when I go around. So that's why sometimes I used to wait until it gets dark because I didn't want all those people to call me name and tell me, stop, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Now she has become her country's most famous citizen on most days. Today, she is just one of thousands, making a weekly pilgrimage to the local cemetery. They gather here every Saturday to grieve and remember together. Maria's father died in a car accident last year, 2 weeks before she would go for the 800-meter indoor world championship. A memorial to her dad. She knows her countrymen expect her to finish first. She hopes some of them will follow her example. They already have a head start. After the war, Mozambicans built their first real track.
Maybe one day country will be better, so I always dream about it, about, good Mozambique.
Maria lives full-time in Oregon, but returns home once a year. Her footsteps linger here, a reminder of the Mozambican girl who keeps on running, even though her country finally can rest. Maria Mutola is the only Mozambican athlete at the Goodwill Games. When we return, she defends her 1994 Goodwill Games.
Eligible for that as we get ready for the women's 800 meters. A world record held by Jarmila Kratochvilova of the Czech Republic, set 15 years ago. Anna Kiro of Cuba in 1990 has the Goodwill Games record. She is not competing here in the 800 this time around, but Maria Mutola is, and what an inspiring story it is.
And she has been focusing on this race for weeks. She did not run in Europe, where she could have made a lot of money, but it's also quite hectic. She stayed at home in Oregon and ran some races against men. She's run under 158.
Another factor in this race, Carol Lewis.
Meredith Valmon coming back from childbirth. She had a son, Travis. She has run 158.59, the best by an American this year.
You're trying to tell me she had a baby.
Yes.
Right. Hard to tell from that shot in lane 6. Meredith getting ready, and there in lane 5 is Jearl Miles-Clark, the first family of track.
Well, that's really the story tonight. There are 3 Clarks in the race, and should they decide to work together, that's
Hazel.
Peachy Hazel, Joetta, and then their sister-in-law, Jearl. And they are very well positioned to work as a team. They may or may not do that, but that is the way that the Russians were able to beat Mutola at the Olympic Games.
They competed at the U.S. Championships going 1-2-4. Now, just so you know, Joetta and Hazel are sisters. Jearl is their sister-in-law. She married JJ, who's the other two's brother, and coaches all 3. If you're scoring at home, I hope that all made sense to you.
There will be a test.
Yes.
Strategy for the race may be as complicated.
I was going to say.
You see Joetta and Jearl on both sides of Maria Mutola. So this whole race can be decided in the first 180 yards before they cut for the pole. If Mutola gets out in front, none of them will catch them except for maybe Jearl, who would have a chance at maybe the last 30 yards. But their strategy should be to get in front of Mutola.
They come to the line. We hear the gun. 2 laps worth in the women's 800 meters. And you can see Maria Mutola in lane 4 in red.
She's fighting for the lead. Jearl Miles is just outside of her. She's sort of thinking about going with her. Here comes Hazel on the inside. They tried to get in front of her, but Maria didn't. The first 200 is going to be extremely fast. Maria's coach says she knows how fast the final time is going to be within tenths of a second based on what she runs the first 200. That tells me that she goes out fast and slows up. Jearl Miles is right on her shoulder. She's a great 400-meter runner. Also, she'll be running that later in the week. So now Maria's got to force the pace.
We're about 350 meters in at this point. Maria Mutola, as expected, showing the way at this point.
One thing that Maria Mutola has an advantage over Jearl Miles-Clark behind her is the fact that Maria is an 800-meter runner for years. She has run this race. Jearl Miles-Clark has really just stepped into the 800 meters, but last year in Brussels, she ran 1:56, breaking Mary Slaney's American record that has stood for a long time. Jearl Miles, can she stay close? If she can unleash that kick.
The first lap was extremely fast, 57.5 seconds. They didn't do what I thought they might do and try and get in front of her, but because of the wind and the headwind that Mutola might be pushing into on this final straightaway, Jearl may be able to swing around and get by her.
Don't forget Valmon. She's been out of trouble in the back, and she's swinging wide on the outside right now. A very major position, but Jearl Miles is in a great position right now. She does have speed.
100 meters to go and now less. Maria Mutola trying to hang on. Jearl Miles-Clark right on her shoulder. Does Mutola have enough? They come to the line, and it is Maria Mutola of Mozambique.
What an incredible run. I mean, Ernie Johnson, that says experience right there. She came down the home stretch. Maria Mutola knew that Jearl Miles had more speed, but I think Maria Mutola, you know, Marty, with her 1,500 meter speed, she's got the strength, obviously, to hold off Jearl Miles.
That took a lot of confidence, and to have somebody like Jearl Miles come up on your shoulder with 50 meters to go after you've been leading the whole race, to not tighten up, to yell to your body, stay relaxed, stay relaxed. Maria was really, she was dead meat here, but she pulled it out.
You see the focus in the eyes, too, of Jearl Miles-Clark. Really seemed poised to overtake her, but Maria Mutola having absolutely none of that.
Well, you know what, I'll tell you, I have seen Maria Mutola in that position before, and I have seen the person on the outside of her pass her. She said, you know what, this is my house, this is my race, you are not going to get me. Why don't you just go back down to the 400 meters where you belong?
Mitchell Athletic Complex, the home tonight of Maria Mutola. She was in the Olympics at the age of 15, now 25 years old, and winning at the Goodwill Games for the 2nd straight time. Let's go down to Craig.
Well, Maria may have been start to finish, but it certainly wasn't easy. What was the strategy, do you think, with the first family of track, the Clarks having 3 against 1?
Well, you know, if you have a family, 3 people in a family racing against you, so they're advantage. They can do tactical race, but I came here to do my own race too, so that's why I take from the beginning.
Everybody will focus on that stretch run against you and Jearl Miles, but what about the beginning? Is that where the race was won, the first 200?
I think the race was won, the first 200 for me, because I plan to run the first 200 between 27 or 26, and I believe we passed in 26, so I was very happy with that.
Well, congratulations to you and your country, Mozambique.
Thank you very much.
Let's go back to Ernie.
All right, Segs, they call her the queen in Mozambique, and she is tonight, too. Winning the 800 meters, Jearl Miles-Clark really gave her a run and cooked up the silver, and Joetta Clark, her sister-in-law, takes the bronze.